everybody out there. Dave Hill coming at you with Lesson 30. I was just kind of having a little fun waiting for the cameras to start rolling, and I was just kind of warming up a little bit and just making some nice mellow music with my arpeggios. You might have realized when you were watching me play there for just a few bars there that I was favoring the sound of my arpeggios. That's because we've been working on them on the last lessons, and I wanted to make sure that we continued with the last few that we've not learned yet. Okay, so you can hear when I use an arpeggio how much information it gives about the chord harmony, and that's what I was trying to focus on when I was playing there. I only had a simple progression of E minor to A minor, but I was always kind of focused on hitting certain notes on the downbeat of the bar because I was trying to bring the flavor of the E minor chord very strongly on the beginning of the bar, and the note that really does it stronger than any note is the third of the chord, in this case the G. And then when I moved to the A minor chord, I would find myself wanting to hear the third of the A minor chord because that, in fact, the third of A minor is a C note. And with just these two notes moving back and forth, you can really get the flavor of the harmony between these two chords. Now I'm going to play other notes along the way, of course, and I'm going to add scale notes, and I'm going to play the rest of the arpeggio as well. But just in general, I like to hit the thirds of the chords often, not all the time, but a lot of times on the downbeat of a new chord change. Okay, so we're going to talk about that more with the rest of the lesson. But let's take a look at the 5 arpeggios that we've got behind us here. Oh, I want to use my new device here. These 5 arpeggios. You might know from looking at the board that we've actually covered these 3 right here. In fact, we've even covered, yeah, these 3 right here is what we've covered. We've covered these 3 in the previous lessons. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish off with the last 2 right here. Okay? And that should bring us up to speed on all the minor 7th arpeggios. Okay? Now, I want you to take a look at the root locations so that we can tie these into the chord shapes that we always like to do. And that is, the root location of the first shape is going to be based off these octaves right here. Okay? So what do you think the chord form that's going to be based off of is related to? It's related to the C form. Anything in that chord form is always going to be called the C shape. So in this case, I'm representing the form relative to E, but it's still coming from that open string shape. Okay? But it's a minor 7th chord, so the last arpeggio that we had around this location was a dominant chord. Okay, so we're going to take that shape and modify it, modify it to make it minor 7. So that's going to be more like this. So the only thing we have to do in this shape is take the major third and bring it down to the minor third, the major third here down to the minor third, and the rest of the notes will stay the same. But it does change the fingering a little bit because now we have to do this. We have to make a position shift right here. Instead of staying and using the root here with our second finger, we use our first finger because we have to get the minor third here, and it just sets us up a little differently. So that becomes this. Okay, so that's a great shape. I'm adding another note or 2 along the way, but it's pretty nice to kind of sweep into. I'm adding the second degree. That's kind of a nice note to grab in addition to the minor 7. I might play like this. It's very jazzy kind of an addition to the arpeggio. But anyway, so the full minor 7th arpeggio now let's play together. Up from the root all the way up to the 5th and back down. Down to the 5th on the bottom and then back up. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that was fairly straight ahead in terms of the fingering. Let's try it again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. go ahead and play that again. One more time. Okay, so, you know, if you're thinking about a chord form that you would play for a minor seventh in that position, so you remember the shape of the chord, you might be looking at a chord like this. Okay, the reason that works there is you can see I'm essentially holding the notes of the chord from the arpeggio just selected to fit the chord voicing. So in this case, 1, minor third, flat 7, and then root. There's not even a fifth in my chord, but that's fine for this particular location. If I wanted to add the fifth, I could do this on top. Okay, so that's this shape right here, and we're going to integrate that with some of the other arpeggios along the way here, but let's just go with that one right now. Okay, so the last shape then comes from the roots on the fifth, or rather the fourth and the second strings. Okay, so that would be where we would talk about the D form that gets moved along up and down the neck. And of course, last time we played this shape, we had a dominant chord here, right? But now we're going to make it a minor seventh chord. So of course, if it's dominant, the lowest note in arpeggio here is a third, but this is going to be a minor seventh arpeggio, so it's got to be a minor third. So that's going to be like this: minor third root, or rather minor third fifth, flat 7 root, minor third fifth, flat 7 root, minor third. So that's going to be like this. Okay, simple enough. Actually, it makes it a little bit more compact. When we had our dominant seventh chord, we had to stretch out to get the third. Okay, so what we're doing is putting minor 7, and now it sort of tightens up in the 4th frets. So that's now G minor 7th. Okay, so it's a good shape right there to remember, just this voicing right here of the chord. Okay, so let's try this together from the root, go all the way up to the minor third, go back down to the root, and finish it off with a minor third back to the root. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, excellent. Let's try that again, and let's go ahead and just keep repeating it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's the minor seventh shape now. So we've learned 2 new shapes now. We've learned the root on the 5th string from the C form, and now we've learned the root of a minor 7th arpeggio from the root on the 4th string, and that is the shape that we just learned. So now we've got 5 shapes that we're going to be responsible to learn. And I know that you might have just worked on those other 2 or 3 shapes just a few lessons ago, and you might be thinking, wow, I barely learned those. But that's the point. You've got to keep up and practice and make sure you're drilling these to get these into your playing. So this progression I was playing at the beginning could be just as simple enough for your studies, and just work on, let's say, the 2 new shapes that we've got right here. So in this case, if I played E minor, right, that would be the form we would use, the first one I showed you. However, the second chord was A minor, so that's going to mean if I'm going to use my new shape, I'm going to move not necessarily to the closest arpeggio, which would be right here for A minor. I'm going to force myself to play the new one I just learned, which is right here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and take only the 2 new ones that we learned. This one right here and this one right here, and play them on these 2 chords right here. You know, if I only had a pen, I could write the chords. Ah, here we go. I'm going to just play over E minor, and A minor, and we're going to go back and forth between this form and this form, just for a quick little practice. Okay, let me see if this is good tempo for us again. Okay, interesting too. What's the predominant rhythm of the music we're playing to? We're playing to a triplet feel. You hear that? Okay. So that sounds, that kind of puts us in an interesting rhythmic dilemma. Do we practice the arpeggio with triplets by playing it like this? Sure, we could do that. That may be a little fast if you just learn these arpeggios. So there's nothing wrong with playing eighth notes. You could play. Right? That would still work against the triplet rhythm. Let's see how that would sound. From the root. 2, 3, 4. Kind of interesting. Notice I'm starting on the root. I'm making a position shift. That's okay. I'm trying to only focus on the new ones that I've worked on. Okay? So I'm jumping around back and forth just to play these two new shapes. That's okay. I know that there's an A minor one right there, and I could play that, but for right now, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work on the new ones. Okay, so let's see if we did it with triplets now. We end up about that far up the arpeggio if we repeated it from the root and did it all in triplets before we'd have to change to the next chord. So follow me here. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, and then that would be the downbeat of A. So can you do that with me? Can you go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and then follow through on the A minor? That's about what we're going to look at. So let me slow it down just a little bit. Make it just a little more relaxing. Okay, here we go. 2. I'm going to push the button. I'm going to try to catch up here. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to let it go one time so that I can be at the beginning. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. With me? If you're having trouble, just do the 8th note. That's okay, you can do the 8th note. Back to the triplets. So, great. We've been doing that now. If you wanted to put yourself in a different kind of challenging light for these arpeggios, you might just say, okay, I'm going to start on the minor third of each arpeggio, just like I was talking about. Like, just maybe in this case, instead of starting on root, start on the G. Either of the two Gs would be fine. On the A minor, you can start on the C, and and the 2 octaves or 3 octaves that it could land on in these 2 positions, just to get you used to seeing an arpeggio on a note other than the root. Okay? So now let's take a look at the assignment and sort of the homework for the video here. If you take a look at my progression behind me, you'll see that there's a lot more chords than just E minor and A minor. I start off in E minor, but you can see there's a C minor, and the 8 underneath each of the chords refers to how long the chords are being sounded. So that's 8 bars of E minor, 8 bars of C minor, and 8 bars of A minor. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to try to stay in one position and play through the 5 positions of the minor 7 arpeggios that we've covered. Okay, so now I want you to mix them up all together, but I want you to try to just choose a position and make that work through this progression. As we go further down the progression, you'll see that I actually add the major 7th to the minor chord. So I play essentially like a 2 and a 1 progression. So this would be in the key of D, and I play a 2 to a 1 in the key of B flat. So now you have to also reach into your knowledge of your major 7th arpeggios, which we've covered. Okay, but it makes it sound more musical to do it like this. So let's do it like this. Let's stay in this position for E minor. On C minor, let's use the one that we covered last lesson, which was this one. And then on the E minor, we're going to do it right here. I'm sorry, A minor, we're going to do right here. Instead of going up to the new one that we learned, we're going to stay in this position. We're going to try to make it work in one position. Okay? Now we've got a different groove for you here. Okay, so now we're going to be in a straight 8 feel. So we don't have to worry about playing triplets now. So that'll give us a nice relaxing groove. And get out of your way so you can see my board. But let's just see if you can keep up. You're not going to be exactly with me. But as long as you're playing arpeggios in time with the progression that I'm giving you here, we'll be good together. So here we go through the progression starting at the top. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys. Here comes A minor. A minor. I added the 4th in there. Back to E minor. Get ready for the major 7th. Right there in that same position. Fits in perfectly, right? Here's C minor. Here's B flat major. A minor. G major 7. Back to the top. Okay, so there you have it. It's taken our final 2 arpeggios now and combining them in a musical way that is getting you used to seeing how these things are going to naturally fit together. A lot of times when you use arpeggios, you're going to use them in diatonic chord progressions, but the diatonic chord progressions like this might modulate to other keys. So that's what we've got going here. You're going to be in the key of D for a while, and you'll be able to use these 2 arpeggios, but now you can see we're going to modulate to another key, and the arpeggios that you know, because you know them in 5 positions, should be relatively close to any of your previous keys, and you'll be able to make those transitions really smooth. Okay, so you got to keep practicing this stuff every day to get it down. You're going to have to find a lot of different ways to make it musical and fun, but I hope that's what you're doing, and I'll see you on the next lesson Take it easy. Dave Hill signing off. Bye-bye.